I found my wife cheating at a bar with another man. I slipped off my ring and left it in her hand. I never thought I'd be the man who caught his wife cheating. You hear stories, see the warning signs in movies, maybe comfort a friend who went through it, but you never think it'll happen to you. You never imagine the person you trust most in the world could be the one who breaks you. But life has a cruel way of proving that no one is immune to heartbreak. For weeks, something had felt off with Julia. The late nights, the sudden new perfume she claimed was a gift from a coworker, the way she'd angle her phone away whenever a message came through. Small things, individually harmless, but together they painted a picture that gnawed at me every night. I'd catch her staring into space at dinner, her fork motionless, her mind miles away. When I'd ask what she was thinking about, she'd smile, tight-lipped, tired, and say, "Just work stuff." But I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't with me anymore. Still, I told myself to trust her. We'd been married for 10 years. We'd built a home, shared vacations, whispered secrets in the dark. Surely that meant something. Surely the woman who once looked at me like I was her whole world couldn't just stop loving me overnight. But love doesn't disappear overnight. It fades, quietly, like a candle left unattended, until one day you wake up in the dark and realize the flame's been gone for a long time. It was a Friday night when I finally decided to stop pretending. Julia said she had a team dinner downtown and that she'd be late. Her tone was casual, too casual, and when she kissed me on the cheek before leaving, her lips barely touched my skin. I stood by the door long after she left, staring at the taillights fading into the distance, feeling something inside of me twist painfully tight. For hours, I sat at home trying to convince myself to let it go. But the thought of her out there, maybe laughing with someone else, wouldn't leave me. By 9 o'clock, my chest felt like it was being crushed. I grabbed my keys and drove. I didn't know exactly where to go, but I remembered hearing her mention a place her office liked to hang out at, a bar called The Lantern, tucked in a quiet corner of downtown. When I pulled up, her car was there. My hands went cold. For a long minute, I just sat in the driver's seat, staring at the familiar license plate, every rational thought screaming at me to leave. But I couldn't. I had to know. The bar was dimly lit, the kind of place where secrets felt safe. My heart pounded in my ears as I stepped inside. Music hummed low and laughter floated through the air like smoke. I scanned the room, and there she was. Julia. She wasn't sitting with coworkers. She wasn't tired or stressed or distracted. She was glowing, laughing. Her hand rested on the wrist of a man I'd never seen before. Someone younger maybe, with a neatly trimmed beard and a smile that reached his eyes. She looked happy, happier than I'd seen her in months. And just like that, I knew. Every excuse, every late night, every distant kiss, all of it collapsed into a single, undeniable truth. My wife was in love with someone else. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. I just stood there, staring, my heart cracking open like glass under pressure. I wanted to scream, to rage, to demand why. But all I could do was watch the woman I loved give her smile to another man. I walked toward them, slow and deliberate. She didn't see me at first. Her hand was still resting lightly on his arm, her body angled toward him in a way that spoke of comfort and familiarity. Then she looked up and froze. Her smile vanished. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. The color drained from her face, and her hand jerked back like she'd been burned. The man turned, confused, then looked between us as realization dawned. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The silence between us said everything. Julia stammered, "Mark, what are you doing here?" My voice came out low, almost calm. "I think you already know." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's not what it looks like." That cliché, those words, they hit me harder than anything else because they were proof she'd run out of truth to give me. I almost laughed, but the pain was too deep for that. I slipped my left hand into my pocket, feeling the familiar weight of my wedding ring. For 10 years, that ring had been my promise, a symbol of loyalty, faith, love, the foundation of the life we built together. But now, it felt heavy, wrong. I pulled it off and held it for a moment, watching it glint in the bar's dim light. Then I reached out and placed it gently in her trembling hand. Her fingers closed around it instinctively, like muscle memory. She looked at me, pleading, her lips quivering. "Please, Mark, don't do this. We can talk." But it was too late for talking. I shook my head slowly. "I'm not doing anything. You already did." Her tears spilled over. The man beside her shifted awkwardly, his eyes fixed on the floor, clearly wishing he could disappear. I didn't even bother looking at him again. He didn't matter. He was a symptom, not the disease. I took a step back, breathing in the stale mix of alcohol and heartbreak. My chest hurt, but there was something else there too, a strange sense of release. She tried again, reaching for me. "Mark, please, I made a mistake. It didn't mean." I cut her off with a small shake of my head. "You don't get to decide what it means. Not anymore." For a long moment, neither of us moved. Her hand still clutched the ring, knuckles white. I think she realized then that this wasn't a fight she could win, that no apology, no excuse could undo what I'd just seen. I turned and started walking toward the door. Behind me, I heard her call my name, once, twice, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. The sound of her voice was just another knife twisting in my chest. As I stepped outside, the cool night air hit me like a shock. My body trembled, not from the cold, but from everything I'd been holding in for weeks, maybe months. I walked to my car and gripped the steering wheel, breathing hard, my reflection in the window looking like a stranger. That was the moment I realized something profound. I wasn't just leaving Julia behind. I was leaving behind the man who let himself believe lies because the truth was too painful. The man who thought love meant staying no matter what. That version of me died inside that bar. What was left was someone who finally understood that sometimes letting go isn't weakness, it's survival. When I drove home that night, the house felt emptier than ever. Her coffee mug was still in the sink, her jacket still hanging by the door. Ghosts of our life together lingered everywhere. I sat on the couch in the dark, the quiet pressing in around me, and let the tears come. But underneath the grief was something else, a flicker of peace. Because even though my marriage had ended, I had something I hadn't felt in a long time: clarity. In the morning, I packed a bag, left a short note on the kitchen counter, and walked out without looking back. I didn't know where I was going yet, but for the first time in years, the road ahead belonged to me. And I promised myself one thing as the sun rose over the horizon: I would never again betray myself by staying where I wasn't loved.